I am ungodly hungover, so I apologize for this video being after the London game. But welcome back to my Week 5 start and sits, everybody, and sorry about yesterday's upload schedule. YouTube had a huge monetization issue, but it's fixed now. Anyway, you guys already know what you're gonna get today. I'm gonna be going over my start, sits, and maybes for Week 5 fantasy football. Also, at the end of this video, you guys are gonna be getting my daily prize picks lineup. But before we get into this video, as always, we got a couple of quick plugs. 1. Head over to gfuel.com, use code WyattzWorld, save yourself a discount on any G Fuel products. And 2. If you're 18 years or older, you can download Prize Picks, the daily fantasy app, where code WyattzWorld will match up to $100 of your first deposit. Remember guys, always play responsibly, and let's get into the video. Okay, so starting off is my fantasy sits, meaning these are the guys that I would not play this week. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I just don't think they look good. All right, so starting off with number 1, we got Brandon Cooks. I love the guy to death. He had a great week last week, but this week the Texans are playing the Jags. Jags have been fiercely good this year. Their defense has been harsh. They've not been allowing a lot of points. On top of that, Davis Mills doesn't look like he's that great right now either. I just think Brandon Cooks is a big risk. Next up, we've got Matthew Stafford. I do not like him at all this week. They're playing Dallas, arguably the best pass defense in the league right now. Also, kind of like Jacksonville, Dallas is not allowing touchdowns at all. Touchdowns being a huge part of a quarterback's fantasy value, Stafford I don't think is going to get any today, meaning I don't think he is going to have a good day at all. Next up, we've got Kenny Pickett. I would not start him yet, especially playing Buffalo right now. He definitely could have a decent day because this is a trap game. However, being his first career start away against one of the best teams in the league, it seems like a fucking disaster. After Kenny Pickett, we're going back to the receivers. We got Darnell Mooney. Guys, I've admitted it. I was wrong on him. I don't think he's bad. I actually like Darnell Mooney, but I don't like him in US Bank with Justin Fields throwing him the ball. That does not look good. And another note, other than last week's game, Mooney's at like 4 receptions for 28 yards on the year. And ending, we've just got a couple of sits as usual. Keenan Allen, still out. I don't even know what's going on anymore. He was close to playing 2 weeks ago, and now he's out? Like, what? Cordero Patterson, he will not be playing this week. Do not start him either. And lastly is Michael Thomas. He is a confirmed out. So now that we're done with the fantasy sits, we will move on to my fantasy starts, meaning absolutely play these guys. 1, Chris Godwin. He is healthy. They're playing Atlanta. I gotta believe AJ Terrell is gonna be on Mike Evans. 2, Michael Gallup. I believe CD is gonna play today, but it doesn't matter. Yesterday, Michael Gallup was on the field for like 87% of the snaps, and he had a fair amount of targets. After Michael Gallup, we've got Gerald Everett, the tight end for the Chargers. Guys, he has scored, I think, in every game this year, and if not, he's been over 10 fantasy points. After Gerald Everett, we've got Chris Olave. Again, play him. I'd probably play him the rest of the year, even when Michael Thomas does come back. This guy is legitimately good. After Olave, we're going back to a guy who really burnt me in week 1, and that is Robert Woods. Treylon Burks is out. Someone's got to catch the ball there. And lastly on my list of starts is actually going to be Ryan fucking Tannehill. He looked decent throwing the ball last week. This week, they're playing the Commanders, who have allowed like 10 passing touchdowns out of 4 weeks playing. I think Tannehill's definitely worth a play if you need a QB. All right, and that was it for my fantasy starts. Now we will be moving on to my fantasy maybes, and heads up, there is a lot of running backs here. So we'll actually start with the non-running back, because there's only 2 of them. 1, Juju Smith-Schuster, if he plays. He's not going to be a guy to probably go out there and get you 40 points, but he has been a decent flex option, getting around 9 to 12. Like I said, that's not fantastic, but it's better than hanging a goose egg. After Juju, I would maybe probably start Carson Wentz this week. I know the last 2 weeks I said not to start him, and I was right, and this week I think he's gonna bounce back. Tennessee's secondary ain't that good. Now it does suck that they're missing Jahan Dotson today, but you still got Terry and Curtis and Logan Thomas. Carson should have a decent day. After Carson Wentz, we've got the list of running backs. So we'll start off with his own running backs, both Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson, maybe. Brian Robinson is expected to get that job, but being his first week back, you don't really know his full workload. And Antonio Gibson, he's basically been touchdown dependent. After those 2, we've got J.K. Dobbins, who I love, and I probably would start if you had him on your bench, but he's playing the Bengals D, and they've been really good this year. And my final maybe of the day is Tyler Alligator, whatever it is, on Atlanta, Cordero Patterson's backup. The reason he's a maybe for me is because there's such a committee there without Cordero that I don't think there's any consistency. Like last week, both Alligator and Caleb Huntley each had 10 carries. And there's a third running back who I think still got some action as well. Like, I just don't trust it that much. But start him at your own risk. All right, everybody, and that is all for my fantasy start and sits portion of the video. We will now move on to the Prize Picks daily winning lineup if you're asking me. All right, ladies and gents, so here we are on Prize Picks, where I am going to be making my lineup in front of you guys live. If you haven't seen this awesome website before, though, here is all the subcategories that you can pick, and here's all the main categories if you just don't like football. They've even got Counter-Strike on here. I don't know what that is. Anyway, so to construct my lineup, the first pick that I really like today is obviously going to be Nicholas Jamal Chubb, rushing for more than 92.5 yards. Guys, the Chargers' rush defense has been absolutely brutal, and he is the best running back in the league. After Nick Chubb, we are going to go to passing yards. That is disrespectful. Justin Fields only has 159 yards. Anyway, Kirk Cousins, 250.5 passing yards at home versus the Bears. If you didn't know this, you can click this little graph up here and it's going to bring up their recent games. The last time Kirk played Chicago, he had 250 exactly. The only time he hasn't beaten 250 this year was in Philadelphia. I think Kirk will throw more than 250.5 yards. All right, moving on to the next category. We are actually going to interceptions. Matthew Stafford, absolutely, I would guarantee almost that he will throw at least one tonight. Today, I should say, so I'm gonna hit more on that. Moving on, we are now on fantasy score, meaning this is their total score of a PPR fantasy league. I am taking Brandon Cooks to get less than 12 points. Like I mentioned today, I do not think he is going to have a fun Sunday. And we will do one more to make it a complete 5-pick bracket. I'm going to have Justin Fields having more than 23 pass attempts because they are going to be down by a lot if you're asking me. So there is my lineup for the day, everybody. If you want to copy me and see if we can win together. Think it looks pretty solid. Let me know. All right, guys, and that is going to be all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and again, I'm sorry for being late. I'm going to hop off really quick, get this edited so you can all watch it before the noon games. Good luck to everybody's fantasy teams. Good luck to everybody's football teams. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and as always, I will see you on Madden Monday.